vais m'éloigner là. Tout est en train de péter un par un.
It was apocalyptic. People running and screaming.
Phones ring again, and my sister Lucy said, Bernard, go outside, the downtown is on fire. The train has derailed.
It was very frightening to see the tank explode. And again. And again. It was just a nightmare. At one moment, I thought we will all explode.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It was so scary because we heard that sound when it will stop.
Train came loose, picked up speed, roared off the tracks, and exploded in the middle of the night.
Cafes and shops that once lined the main street have been reduced to rubble.
47 people died in the explosion and fire.
I lose my friend, I lose my client, this parent or brother or sister, and my town. My town is disappear.
What many people don't realize is that that tragedy was made in America. The oil that was loaded onto those rail cars came from the ground in North Dakota. That tragedy really could have happened anywhere in the United States.
In the last several years, since 2008, there has been an explosion in the production of oil based on the ability to frack oil in North Dakota and other sites in North America.
The amount of oil production in North Dakota is massive. They're now producing 1.2 million barrels a day. 5 years ago, it was less than 200,000. And this has created a lot of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs.
North Dakota is now the second most productive state in terms of oil in the United States, second only to Texas. The problem was oil companies had no way to get it to the refineries because there are no pipelines in North Dakota. So the only way really to get the oil from North Dakota to these refineries is by railroad. These oil trains are running every day to cities like Philadelphia, Newark, through Portland to Vancouver and down to the San Francisco Bay Area. And they roll through the towns around Chicago, like Aurora, Illinois.
I can look out my window by my desk here, and I'm very likely to see a freight train, and it's very likely to have tanker cars.
When they started using the railroad to transport crude oil, the car that was available to them was something called the DOT 111.
The DOT 111 is basically kind of the Ford Pinto of tanker cars.
It was not designed for flammable or hazardous liquids, so it might be something that you would ship corn oil in, but it's being used extensively to carry flammable liquids, and that's part of the problem.
Many of these tank cars are older tank cars, and they don't have the same protections that a newly built tank car would have.
There are parts of it that can come off and puncture the sides of the tank car.
It has been found for decades now to be an unsafe rail car, and yet it still is being used.
There's about 228,000 in North America. About 98,000 are used to transport flammable liquids.
Logically, the chance of a catastrophe is much higher, and we've really seen that with the frequency of accidents in the last 2 years.
911, what's your emergency? Oh, it just blew up! A train blew up! You need fire, ambulance, anything, right away!
A small town forced to evacuate after a train derailed carrying crude oil.
More than 15 train cars filled with crude oil went off the tracks near downtown Lynchburg this afternoon.
Men and women frantically scrambling to get help to this downtown disaster.
A train derailed and exploded in Rockford. One woman was killed, 9 others injured.
Everybody's got to evacuate. Those tanks could blow any minute.
A train pulling 90 cars from Amory to Florida derailed. 20 cars left the track, and 12 of those cars exploded, pouring smoke and fire into the rural area.
The oil boom in the United States is a surprise to almost everybody. What it means for other industries and for infrastructure is what you would expect. If we didn't expect to have the oil, we didn't have the infrastructure in place to either develop or bring that oil to market.
For many decades, the railroads were sort of in decline. There was not a lot of maintenance being done, and it didn't matter. But now all of a sudden, they're being turned into a nationwide network of rolling pipelines. And it's a pretty rickety network. So you've got bridges that are 116 years old. You've got tracks that are more than a century in age. The bridges are crumbling in many places, whether they're timber or they're concrete. There are federal agencies that oversee the railroads and oversee the movement of crude oil. The problem is their government oversight in this area has failed and is continuing to fail. The railroads and the oil companies have been vigorously working and lobbying to water down or delete provisions that many of the regulators think is necessary.
We know that the DOT 111 cars are insufficient for this purpose, and that's why we are looking for them to be phased out. But Congress created the National Transportation Safety Board to investigate accidents and make recommendations. We are not a regulator. We can't require anyone to do anything.
After the accident in Lac-Megantic, Canada removed some of the oldest cars from circulation, period, and gave only a 3-year turnaround period to have the DOT 111s off the tracks completely.
The federal safety officials have been saying for 23 years, this rail car is unsafe. And for those same 23 years, the Department of Transportation has been essentially ignoring those recommendations.
Those DOT 111s could be around for many more years if something isn't done.
Perhaps Lac-Megantic doesn't resonate as strongly with the American public, but these other accidents, the Aliceville, Lynchburg, they're bellwethers, they're warnings.
It's not 1,000 and 1,000 person who died, and maybe you can say, oh, it's just 47 person, but everyone here know each other. You put this bomb on cheap tank and people lose life. And a town, it's absolutely destroyed.
More than a year later, the residents of Lac-Megantic are still trying to get the message out of how unprepared any community is for that kind of a disaster. And I just don't think until this happens in the United States, the American public's really going to take it seriously.
I am nobody in front of the people of USA, but I am someone who lived this tragedy. The nightmare you don't want to see.